This is the story of John, a man who, in the silent years of his retirement from a clandestine life, was thrust back into his past by the very person he had sought a future with. He would discover that the most dangerous enemy is the one who sleeps in your bed. Her voice wafted through the ventilation like a toxic vapor, thin and poisonous. I lay in bed, inert, my heartbeat an unyielding rhythm. Listening. Make it clean. He jogs at 5. Cut breaks if you have to. I want him gone before Sunday. The reply was male, distant, and metallic. Payment first. Her whisper sharpened. Cryptos in the wallet I sent. Double if it's brutal. My lungs ceased their function. For years, I had buried the man I once was, hidden the scars, the training, the methods. To my wife Emily, I was just the quiet man who fixed the porch, brewed coffee, and kissed her goodnight. At 10:07 a.m. that illusion cracked. She wanted me dead. I slid from the bed, my bare feet on the cold wood, crossed the hall, and entered the office. My hands opened the safe without hesitation. The prepositioned kit was waiting. A Glock, cash, 2 passports, a watch with residual grime in its intricate gears. I lifted the phone, scrolled to a number I had promised never to dial again, and typed one line. One last dance. Partner. Betrayal tastes metallic. It coats the tongue and never leaves. I had known Emily's laughter, her scent, her warmth pressed against me at night, yet here she was, plotting my demise with a stranger as if discussing menial tasks. Why? Money. Another man. Or had she grown tired of the shadow I cast without even meaning to? I replayed the years in silence. Her questions about my past I never answered. The moments she watched me too long, as if measuring something unseen. Her sudden interest in our finances. The private phone calls muffled by the bathroom door. And tonight, the certainty in her voice. Not fear, not hesitation, just precision. I felt denial rise in me like a tide, but I drowned it quickly. Emotion clouds the mind. I had lived too long in the craft of lucidity. There was no mistake. The woman I had trusted with my quiet years had marked me for elimination. I began to analyze her with the dispassionate scrutiny once reserved for targets. She did not know that my every movement was already calculated. My silence was not emptiness. It was measurement. The next morning, she smiled at me, offered coffee, her hand steady, her voice warm. I sipped, never breaking eye contact, wondering if she had already slipped something into the cup. Later, she claimed to be running errands. I followed at a distance. Her car moved cleanly through traffic, unaware of the unseen sentinel trailing her. She met a man, David, younger and confident. They sat too close and spoke too softly. His hand brushed hers, and she did not pull away. A lover, an accomplice, or both. I traced her messages. She thought encryption made her safe. A silent, grim amusement filled me. She didn't know who I once was. Nothing she sent escaped me. The wallet address, the transactions, the timed replies from men who had killed for less sage detail locked into place. She had built a second life in the margins of ours, a double existence. To her, I was no longer a husband. I was an obstacle. The storm inside me raged, but my face remained calm. I waited, watched, and gathered until the picture was complete. The final thread arrived on a Thursday night. A message from her to her unguarded, reckless. Once he's gone, it's just us. No more hiding, no more secrets. The payment transfer was complete. The kill order was active. I stared at the screen, and for the first time in a decade, felt the old self step back into the light. At dinner, she asked about my day. I nodded, then handed her a folded sheet. "What's this?" she asked, smiling. "Read." Her eyes scanned the pages, transaction logs, messages, the voice recording from 10:07 a.m. Her smile collapsed. Her countenance drained of vitality. She looked at me then, not as a husband, not as a victim, but as a predator. She recognized what sat across the table. Her lips trembled. "I can explain." I cut her off with silence, a silence sharper than any blade. I leaned back. "You wanted it brutal," I said, my voice low. "Even I will oblige." I slid my phone across the table. It displayed a live feed. Her lover, David, in a room bound, gagged, his eyes wide with fear. Her hand flew to her mouth. "My partner owed me a favor," I continued. "I collected." She shook her head, whispering no, tears breaking. "Double payment, wasn't it?" I said. "Consider it paid in advance." Her sobs cracked the air, but I felt nothing. I stood, collected my bag, and walked past her as she collapsed to the floor, clutching the papers, the proof of her ruin. Her voice followed me, desperate, broken. "Please don't leave me." I didn't answer. The live feed still streamed, her choices staring back at her like a mirror she couldn't break. That was her punishment. Not death, not blood, but living with the truth. I drove through the night, the roads empty, the horizon black. The man I had buried had returned, not fully, just enough. I thought of her tears, of the way her voice fractured. It stirred nothing in me. She had chosen betrayal. She had purchased my death as if ordering a wine. Now, she would drink her own poison alone. As dawn cut across the sky, I pulled over, opened the window, and let the cold air in. The life I lived with her was ash, gone. I pressed the phone off. No calls, no traces, just silence. I whispered to no one. "Steady, the final dance is over."